All right, let's get this party started. Let's get my should have been done predictions and breakdowns, discussions and takeaways and concerns of my NFL Week 15 taken care of. I said it should have been done because I should have been posted, but you know how it is. I'm getting it in. Unfortunately, I'm not getting it in before Week 16 because Week 16 started last night. And holds up. Shout out to my Los Angeles Chargers. Posted a good video about that last night, about that real nice solid victory that we did against the Denver Broncos. Tremendous comeback. Came back from a 21 point deficit, and we had only allowed 6 points from the Denver Broncos in the second half. So the Chargers are showing that they are a second half team now, that they are going to be able to finish games. That is the Jim Harbaugh effect. Love it. So these are my NFL Week 15 biggest takeaways, discussions, concerns, and what I learned, reviewed of my predictions and breakdowns. So let's see how I did this week with my predictions. I lost count of my prediction record throughout the season. I really don't know how many games I was right on, and how many I was wrong on. I didn't count it, but I will eventually, and I will probably do a video and do some shorts and post it on Instagram and see how many games I was right on and how many games I was wrong on, and I'll give you the record, and I'll also look and see how many games I was spot on with the points. So let's see. I know these past couple of weeks, though, I did kind of lose my touch a little bit. I believe from the top of my mind, I was more wrong these past couple of weeks than I ever was. So this season, I started off hot, and then I was like, "Oh man, I'm so off on this game. I'm so wrong about this game. I was so wrong about this player, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." But this has been a very solid, exciting NFL season, to say the least. So unfortunately, it's winding down, but we are getting into the playoffs, and I'm excited, man. I don't think I have been this excited for NFL playoffs in a very, very long time, because it is going to get extremely competitive. Teams are getting better. More teams are getting better than worse, and more teams are getting better that are approaching the playoffs. And I was just talking to somebody yesterday when I was at the game. I can't remember who I was talking to, but NFC, man, God. If it's not going to be my Chargers, because I predict the Chargers to go and win the Super Bowl, but if it's not going to be them, I think somebody from NFC is going to take it home, man. Oh my goodness, you got the Eagles, you got the Vikings, you got the Lions. Even though the Lions is beat down and broken, but they still are fighting. Then you got the, as I said, the Vikings, Eagles, Lions. The Rams, I predicted the Rams to win their division. The Rams. I don't think nobody wants to play the Rams. With that offense, Matthew Stafford, you already know what he can do in the playoffs. Puka, Cooper, and two solid running backs. Also, two great wide receivers, two really solid runners, Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. And they have a really good tight end as well. And Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers is so underrated. Not too many people is talking about Green Bay. Green Bay is underrated, man. Boy, Jordan Love is doing his thing. Golly. And you know what? I think the Bears is out of the playoffs. Since the Bears is out of the playoffs, I'm going to go ahead and give you my updated NFC team. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the Vikings. Earlier this year, before the season started, I had one of my really good friends on, and he predicted. I think the Vikings was a sleeper. He predicted the Vikings. That was his second team to go to the Super Bowl, and so I concurred with him because USC great Sam Darnold. I was like, yo, fight on, bro. I'm not even hating on that prediction. I think Sam Darnold was going to do his thing this year, and I knew Sam Darnold was going to do his thing this year. I always thought that Sam Darnold was going to be a great quarterback coming out of college. I could have been a little biased because I'm a diehard USC fan, but Sam Darnold was a monster in college, man. He was a beast in college, and unfortunately, it didn't transfer into the NFL. But at the same time, look at the organizations that he went to. I mean, drafted to the Jets, and then he plays at Carolina. He didn't get a chance in San Francisco. I knew if Sam Darnold was going to get a chance in San Fran, that he was going what he's doing in Minnesota, he was going to do that in San Francisco. I knew he was, but he never got a shot in San Francisco. Brock Purdy took that over. It's not a surprise to me what he was going to do in Minnesota. It really isn't. And so, I just went on and just chose, the Chicago Bears to go over him, and that's, I'm kind of probably being a little biased because Caleb Williams, another USC great, USC alum, but I'm not wrong about Sam Darnold, and I don't think I'm wrong about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a rookie. He shows signs of greatness. A lot of the rookie quarterbacks has had their ups and downs all year, and Jaden Daniels, everyone's talking about Jaden Daniels being MVP. I thought that was ridiculous. Now what is Jaden Daniels doing? So they barely won this past Sunday. We're going to get into that. So yeah, so let's start off. I said so the Thursday night. So week 15 started off with Thursday night football. We already did a video on this. The Los Angeles Rams, they kicked off week 15. They had with a win over San Francisco, and then on Sunday, Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson had an impressive 5-touchdown performance. Another one, and wide receiver Devontae Adams enjoyed his best game yet for the New York Jets, grabbing 9 receptions for 198 yards. Him and Aaron Rodgers, they clicked. It's whatever now. It really doesn't matter. It's towards the end of the year. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was removed in the fourth quarter of the victory against the Cleveland Browns with an ankle injury. Later, the Buffalo Bills handed the Detroit Lions their second loss of the season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers blew out the Los Angeles Chargers. I think I did a video on that. Did I do an upset video? Oh, I was going to do a video on how pissed off I was about the Chargers getting blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I didn't. I was just way too pissed to do a video on it. But I wanted to, and I should have, even though I was pissed. But that's my bad. But I think you guys can imagine how upset I was about the Chargers getting blown out by Tampa Bay. I did a video yesterday when I did my predictions for Thursday Night Football. I said I was so mad I had to go to sleep. I had to sleep the piss away. I had to sleep the piss off. So yeah, but and the Philadelphia Eagles won the Pennsylvania State Championship on Monday night. They won the Pennsylvania State Championship against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I predicted the Steelers to win that game. Unfortunately, they didn't. On Monday night, the Minnesota Vikings won their 7th straight by handing the Chicago Bears their 8th consecutive defeat. The Atlanta Falcons also narrowly defeated the Las Vegas Raiders. It was all on Monday night. That's kind of like a little brief of what went down in Week 15. First game, my predictions, Chiefs versus Browns. I predicted the Chiefs to win this game 21-17. Did I? I don't think I predicted them to win that game 21-17, but I wrote that. Okay. Well, I just fact check that because I was right if I did predict. I think I predicted them to win 27-17, I think. But they won 21-17 obviously. So this is the thing. The Chiefs did a nice job taking advantage of Jameis Winston and the Browns by forcing 5 defensive turnovers with another turnover on special teams. But it's premature to claim their defense is back to last year's level. Yeah, their defense is sort of breaking down a little bit, but it's bending, but it's not breaking. So the biggest challenge awaits the next couple of weeks in the Texans and Steelers, in which the questions around Patrick Mahomes' ankle. I think Patrick Mahomes. I wrote this article about throughout the week, so some stuff has been updated. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, is going to play against Houston. And if I was Andy Reid, I would have Patrick Mahomes play. You want to see if you can lock that 1 seed up. Lock that 1 seed up, get that first bye, playing at home, because if Patrick Mahomes, if he's hurt that bad, you want to see if you can get that rest, and then you can play at home, so he can really get that extra treatment, So yeah, he left the game in the fourth quarter with an injury, was visibly limping off the field after the game. So this is one of the injuries that Patrick Mahomes has been dealing with since, was it last year or 2 years ago? I think since they played the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so maybe about 2 years ago. Yeah. And so this is an injury that's been recurring. So that's kind of how it goes. I know when I used to play football that I used to have a lot of ankle problems, and they will occur, just throughout my football career. And and same for my knees. Like I used to have like a lot of knee problems, and that would just it was just a nagging recurrence, you know, that I had to keep dealing with when I was playing. So the Chiefs had one of their better games in getting after the opposing quarterback. They had 5 sacks of Jameis Winston, but that didn't tell the whole story. They were consistent with pressure on the Browns quarterback even when they weren't blitzing. So that's really good. Even when they weren't blitzing, they was really good on holding the pressure on the Browns. So that was something that was a concern with the Chiefs, because the Chiefs didn't really so much create a lot of pressure. But the fact that they're not really blitzing and they're creating pressure on the quarterback show great signs for Steve Spagnuolo's defense. So there was reason for encouragement since this pass rush was among the least productive in the league. That's what I just said. So, you know, I was saying like their pass rush was not that great. So let's see here. Harrison Butker had made all 72 of his career field goal attempts of less than 30 yards until he missed a 29-yard try late in the first half. The miss didn't matter in the long haul, but it was a notable blemish in the kicker's return to the lineup from the knee injury. So that's something to look into. That can cost them a game in the playoffs. It could. The Chiefs' next game is against the Texans. It's tomorrow. Today's Friday, Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be, if you're Pacific time, it'll be 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Ooh, so I'm going to have to do my predictions tonight or late tonight. Yeah, definitely. So I'm so glad I went over that. So, yeah. The Browns, let's go to the Browns real quick. Will the Browns make a quarterback change? I believe they are. I believe I read that they are benching Jameis Winston. I have wrote this article before that he was getting benched. He did breathe life into the Cleveland's offense at times, but he is a very inconsistent quarterback, and he turns the ball over way too many times. Jameis Winston is a gunslinger. He trusts his arm way too much, and he doesn't make logical these good decisions. He is way too aggressive. You want to be a little aggressive as a quarterback, but you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too conservative. You don't want to be too aggressive. Being a great quarterback in the NFL, I believe just being a great quarterback in general is making wise decisions. The more wiser your decisions are as a quarterback, the better of a quarterback you will be. I coach Little League, and I have this kid. He's an Asian kid. His name is David, and he has a phenomenal quarterback. He has a hell of an arm, and he's only 6, and he has a rocket. I mean, he throws missiles. Like, this kid is God-given talent. If you, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 16, 15, yeah, maybe like 15 years from now, you hear an Asian kid named David launching missile launchers in college football and going on to the NFL. You heard it from this channel first. You heard it from me first. Like, I don't know what the kid's last name is, but he's an Asian kid. His name is David, and he's fast as hell too. He's very fast. He kind of has that type of playing style, sort of like a Patrick Mahomes type. Like, literally. I mean, that's what he makes me feel like, how he is. And I think he watches a lot of football, and I think he tries to imitate some of these players, you know, like a Patrick Mahomes or like a Justin Herbert, you know, type of player. But that's what he kind of reminds me of when he plays. And he's very fast. He's a very, very fast kid, and he's only 6 years old. So that's crazy. It's crazy. So, yeah, watch out for, keep a lookout for an Asian kid named David in 15, 20 years from now. But yeah, anyway, so let's see here. Oh no, I was bringing him up. That's right. I was making a point about him, but he has a really strong arm, and he sometimes overthrows the receivers, or when he has a kid that's wide open, you know, and he just launches the ball to him, and I'm like, yo, like, put a little touch on that. You don't have to be so aggressive. You don't have to always launch the missile. Throw catchable balls. Know when to float it. Know when to throw it hard. If you're going to throw in coverage, that's when it's time to really launch it. If you're going to throw in double coverage, but don't be too aggressive. You know, there was times where he was too aggressive. He trusted his arm a little bit too much, and he made bad decisions, and he had pick sixes. You know, and it had nothing to do with his physicality, his physical play, and everything what to do with his mind, his mentality. You know, the decision making that he was making. You know, he saw the guy covered, but he trusted his arm too much, and he threw the ball. You know, he thought that he was going to be able to fit it in there as fast and as quick and hard as possible, and it was picked off. He did that a couple times throughout this season. So, but he's a hell of a player. He's a really great kid. He's my best player on the team. I mean, he's plays pretty good defense too. He has instincts. He's just very talented. He also plays baseball. So yeah, look out for that. Look out for an Asian kid named David, Asian quarterback named David. So let's go, keep it pushing. So let's see here. Yep, Jameis Winston was benched in the fourth quarter amid his fourth multi-interception game in 7 starts. Deron Thompson Robinson is unproven, though Cleveland doesn't have much to lose in evaluating the 2023 fifth-round pick. And the team is already eliminated from playoff contention, so it doesn't really matter. They might as well just let Jameis Winston have kept playing, finish out the season. You know, they might as well. Jerome Ford, he recorded 104 scrimmage yards, including a 62-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. It marked Ford's first 100-yard game this season, his first since Week 7 of 2023 season. The Browns defense pressured Patrick Mahomes 21 times before he left late in the fourth quarter because of an ankle injury, and it was tied for the most pressures in Mahomes has faced in the game this season. The Browns' next game is against the Bengals. The Bengals should win that game, but the Browns, they do play very well against. The Browns play very well against the Bengals. The Bengals has to win out, and I think they need the Broncos to lose. I think they need the Broncos to lose one game or lose out. I think the Bengals has to win out, and they need the Broncos to lose out for them to make it to the playoffs. I think that's how it goes. But the Bengals, they may not win this game. I mean, they may not. The Browns plays very well against the Bengals, and the Bengals only beat them by 7 points the last time they played. So, and speaking of the Bengals, we got next game, the Bengals for the Titans. I predicted the Bengals to win this game 25-20. The Bengals won this game 37-27. So, I was a little off, but but they still won. So let's see here. Joe Burrow had another big performance. He threw his 36th touchdown pass of the season, which broke his own franchise record with 3 games still remaining. So, entering this week, Burrow was second in the league with a 74.1 QBR, and he also led the NFL in passing yards 3,706 and passing touchdowns 33. Despite a few turnovers, his playmaking is phenomenal. He has been has played very well this year, but a lot of Joe Burrow's stats is him playing catch up and his defense being bad and them just pretty much throwing the ball 98% of the time when they're on the field. So, I'm not fooled by Joe Burrow's stats. I'm not saying Joe Burrow isn't a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I don't think Joe Burrow... I don't know if Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. I don't know. And really, to be honest with you, you all don't know either. Joe Burrow has never shown us what he could do without an elite offense around him. He's had it all. He's throughout his entire college career, and he's had it throughout his entire NFL career. We don't know how elite Joe Burrow really is. I don't think he's elite. I honestly don't. But hey, I think we will soon to find out. The Bengals are not going to be able to keep T. Higgins, and if Jamar Chase, God forbid, gets hurt sometime next year, then that's when we're going to really see what Joe Burrow is all about. We know what Justin Herbert's about. I've been telling you guys how great and elite of a quarterback Justin Herbert is. I've been telling you guys how much better he is over Joe Burrow, and I've been telling you guys how I think that Justin Herbert is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I know he is. I will admit that Justin Herbert can be inconsistent, or not inconsistent, but he won't always snap off throughout the game. He can just disappear. He won't play bad, but he can just disappear, just not do anything, and then all of a sudden he kicks in, and he starts making phenomenal, crazy, astronomical throws and plays like he did last night. Justin Herbert, the danger of Justin Herbert is that he has the capability, he has the ability to do it anytime, so. But if Justin Herbert can do it consistently through quarter 1, through quarter 4, week in, week out, I mean, it's a fact that he's the best quarterback in the league. It's a fact, And he has Jim Harbaugh, and I think Jim Harbaugh is going to... That's why I have so much faith in. That's why I think Jim Harbaugh is going to get that together, and that's why I predicted the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl, because of the Jim Harbaugh effect. So, let's see here. Burrow had 9.01 seconds to throw his 6-yard touchdown pass to Chase Brown in the first quarter. Burrow bought that time by evading 2 defenders before he located Brown in the end zone. According to ESPN research, it was the longest time to throw on a touchdown this season that wasn't on the final play of the regulation. Interesting. Okay. So no matter the severity of Hubbard's injury, See the youth movement to defensive end. Sam Hubbard, who had already seen a reduction in snaps coming into Sunday, was ruled out with a right knee injury. But regardless of that, him being rolled out, the Bengals, they continue to evaluate the young edge rushers on the roster: Miles Murphy, Joseph Ossai, and Cedric Johnson. So the Bengals' next game is against the Browns. They're playing Sunday, 1 p.m. The Titans. Is there anything to go over with the Titans? Let's see here. Will Levis was intercepted 3 times. It was including one that was returned for a 40-yard touchdown. This is Levis' 6th pick six this season, and that's the most by a quarterback all year. That is crazy. Let's see. He showed subtle improvement over the past 3 weeks, but regressed severely. So let's see here. They may go to their backup. The Titans may go to their veteran backup, Mason Rudolph, and we don't know. The future does not look bright for Will Levis. We don't know if he's going to keep his starting job, if at all, if he loses it this year. So let's see. The Titans, they couldn't close the deal on Burrow. He helped the Bengals convert 10 of 13 third down opportunities. And both of Burrow's third down touchdown passes came under pressure as the Titans failed to get to him each time. Let's see here. This was the first game with at least 10 combined turnovers and 20 combined accepted penalties since the Bears and Vikings in Week 13 of 2006. 10 turnovers, 21 combined accepted penalties. It was sloppy for both teams, though. The Bengals came out on top because of their advantage at quarterback. So, the Titans' next game is against the Colts. And they play that game at 1 p.m. Eastern. And the Chargers, they need the Dolphins to lose. And I can't remember who the Dolphins is playing, but I'll read that through. I will go over that through here. And I think they need the Titans to lose, and then if that happens, they clinch the playoff berth. Hold on, let me see real quick because I saved that information on my phone. Let me see real quick. Let's see here. Okay. So, I don't know if you can see that. It's a glare. But the Chargers can clinch a playoff spot on Sunday. The Dolphins must lose to the 49ers, and the Colts must lose to the Titans. So, if the 49ers win, and if the Titans win, the Chargers are in. They clinch it. They seal the deal. And I think I do believe the 49ers will win. And the Colts, I don't know. I don't see the Titans beating the Colts. So the Chargers, it doesn't matter. The Chargers doesn't need to focus on who's going to win or who's going to lose for them. The Chargers needs to focus on the Chargers winning every single game. That's what the Chargers needs to focus on. So it doesn't even matter. I don't even care. I will only care if that does happen on Sunday and they are in. But other than that, they need to focus on what they can focus. They need to keep that momentum going, and they need to play every single game hard. And they need to bring that throughout to the playoffs. Plain and simple. Jets versus Jaguars. I predicted the Jaguars to win this game. Oh, I didn't. What was this? I didn't write the note of what was the score. But it doesn't matter. I was wrong. Regardless. The Jets won this game 32-25. So, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they connected pretty well this game. They got shut out in the first half. Adams finished with 9 catches, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 71 score. Rodgers passed for 289 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, and they finally came through in the fourth quarter. Let's see here. It took too long for that to happen, though. Their season is done. Aaron Rodgers still showed he got a little bit of wheels. He rushed for a team high of 45 yards, which is the most by a quarterback in his 40s since Doug Flutie, which happened in 2003. And let's see here. Rodgers did have some injuries earlier this season, so maybe that's why he had his injury to his knee, hamstring, and he had some ankle injuries. But he has been healthy for the past 3 games, and that has shown. So let's see here. The downside of that is you never want your aging quarterback to lead your team in rushing, especially if you got So that's the Jets are just a disaster. Jeff Ulbrich, he was terrible with his awful clock management late in the game. scoring too early and giving the Jaguars a chance to tie the game. Quarterback Sauce Gardner bailed out Obridge with a game-clinching interception, which was his first in 37 games. The Jets' next game is against the Rams. They're losing that game. I'm just telling y'all right now. I'm telling you right now before my freaking predictions. That ain't happening. The Jets is not beating the Rams. So let's go over what the Jaguars can do. So let's see. The Jaguars, they got to get their secondary together in the offseason. That should probably be their number one priority. Yeah, see here. This is the second time the Jaguars blew a fourth quarter lead by allowing deep quick passes. And this time that was a 71-yard touchdown from Artisha Adams. Their safety, Andre Cisco, he's unlikely to be back. And safety, Antonio Johnson, he struggled. They need another cornerback to complement Tyson Campbell too. So let's see here. The Jaguars, they put up 25 points, which is the most, which is more than they put in Jones' first 3 starts combined. And let's see here. He made 2 mistakes with interceptions on deep balls, including one with 37 seconds left. But they want to say that he has improved. Comfort helped the Jaguars' offense surpass 400 yards for the second time this season. The Jaguars' run game, it had been stagnant since they returned from London in mid-October, averaging 69.3 yards per game over the past 6 games. The Jaguars, he put up 136 against the Jets. And running back Travis Etienne Jr., he had 4 carries last week, finished with 65 yards. That was his most since week 3. The Jaguars' next game is against the Raiders at 4:25 p.m. on Sunday. Next game, Commanders versus Saints. I predicted the Commanders to win this game 30-20. The Commanders won this game 20-19. Wow. I was almost right about what the Saints put up. I was 10 points off from the Commanders. So, it was kind of a sloppy performance by Washington. And so, let's see here. They did not have their center, Tyler Biadasz. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And let's see. Their tight end was out. Zach Ertz was for a concussion in the first half. Let's see here. They've been committing a lot of penalties lately. They had 9 on Sunday and have had 28 in the last 3 games combined. Those penalties concluded for New Orleans to get big drives and extend their drives. The Commanders hold the 7th and final playoff spot, but they can't afford to play this way and expect to clinch. They could still not make it to the playoffs. And so let's see here. Jaden Daniels, he finished out with 25-31 passes for 226 yards and 2 TDs. And he extended one play for 8 seconds, 8.04 seconds. He also ran 11 times with 66 yards. He was sacked a season high 7 times, and sometimes because he held the ball long or ran into trouble. And let's see here. Daniels and Terry McLaurin had multiple chances for long touchdown passes, but couldn't connect. So that's what I was saying about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the type of quarterback that obviously he needs to run to get the game to really be able to perform. And I feel like if you take his running game away, that he's going to miss. He's going to miss plays. He's not the type of quarterback that you can just keep in the pocket and he just makes plays. He has to extend plays. He has to run for him to be comfortable, for him to be able to try to throw down the field and complete his passes. And if you take that away, he's not going to see the field properly. He's not going to see the play. He's not going to be able to make wise decisions. So, I think that Jaden Daniels he's not the type of quarterback that can adapt to any situation. He's not a situational quarterback. Only the great quarterbacks are situational quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels is not. But, I rest my case. New Orleans. Is it New Orleans? The Commanders' next game is against the Eagles. That's a big game. On Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's a big game. Saints. Let's go over the Saints. Let's see here. Would they stick with Spencer Rattler? Who knows? They should just stick with Derek Carr, to be honest with you. Let's see. But Derek Carr is injured, so Spencer Rattler and Haener are in competition. But Rattler clearly outplayed Haener in the second half against Washington. The Saints will likely stick with the hot hand while Carr is out. So they're more likely going to stick with Rattler. Let's see here. The Saints, they did struggle to move the ball at all. They did struggle to move the ball with Haener, but they looked like a different team once Rattler came in. Rattler gave the Saints a chance to win, leading 3 scoring drives, including a touchdown with no time remaining. The Saints didn't get the 2-point conversion, but Rattler showed his potential. It's pretty cool. So the Saints, their next game is against Packers on Monday Night Football. They're going to lose that game. Let's see here. Next game, Ravens vs. Giants. I predicted the Ravens to win this game 29-10. The Ravens won 35-14. Not too far off. 4 points off from the Giants, and 5 points off from what the Ravens put up. So not too far off. And let's see here. Is there anything to go over in this game? We all know Lamar Jackson. He dominated this game. He tied a career high with 5 touchdown passes, and the defense tied a season low in yards allowed, 236. The Baltimore have a big test against Pittsburgh on Saturday though, so they're going to have to prove it that they can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to have to prove that this game is not a fluke, as it was against the Giants. The Ravens have lost 8 other past 9 games to their biggest rival, to the Steelers. Lamar Jackson is obviously he does not play well against Pittsburgh, because obviously Pittsburgh, they're divisional opponents. Pittsburgh knows Lamar Jackson very well. The Steelers can clinch the AFC North title with a win. So the Steelers, they can win. They can clinch that title with a win on Saturday. So they gotta have this win. Both teams need this win. Let's see here. Lamar Jackson, he put on another spectacular performance with more touchdown passes than incompletions, which was 4, and he had 5, and it was his 6th career game with 5 touchdown passes, which is tied for 4th most in NFL history. That's dope. That is phenomenal. He has tied for 4th most in NFL history with 5 TDs. Lamar Jackson is that guy. He's that guy, man. He's that guy. He just needs to show up in the playoffs. Let's see here. Rashad Bateman. He had a breakout season this year. He with the most multiple touchdown games of his 4-year career, catching touchdown passes for 49 and 20 yards. Bateman now has 6 touchdown catches in 14 games after totaling 4 in his first 3 seasons. 34 games. That's awesome. So the Ravens' next game is against the Steelers at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. Let's see here. The Giants, let's go over with the Giants real quick. The Giants now lost 9 straight games and are on the verge of becoming the first team ever to go 0-9 at home after being dominated by the Ravens. That is freaking ridiculous. They'll be underdogs in the final 3 weeks in Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Philly. Yeah, obviously. 12 straight losses to end the season is not out of the question. This latest defeat does keep the Giants in pole position for the number 1 pick. Who will they get for number 1? They came into Sunday with a 41% chance at the top pick, and it jumped to 48% with the loss. Yeah. So let's see here. This game was overmatched. The Giants had no questions, no answers for Lamar Jackson or the Ravens offense. They cannot move the ball consistently. And they got 2 terrible quarterbacks, Tommy DeVito and Tim Boyle. And yeah, the Giants, they are definitely a 2-12 team. And it tied up their franchise record with their 9th straight loss. Let's see here. The Giants can't keep nobody healthy. I mean, even though they have terrible quarterback play, DeVito, he left in the first half with a concussion. And DeVito was injured in each of his 2 starts. Drew Lock also lasted just 2 starts after injuring his heel last week. Boyle finished the game and went 12-24 for 123 yards and interception of the Giants' first passing touchdown in 5 games. The Giants' next game is against the Falcons. So next game, we got the Cowboys versus Panthers. I predicted the Panthers would win this game 23-20. I was wrong on this game. The Cowboys won 30-14. Let's see here. Is there anything to go over with the Cowboys? The Cowboys, they did respond with a great win on a short week when they lost to the Bengals. Let's see. Cooper Rush had the first 3 touchdown game of his career. So that's phenomenal. At 6-8, the Cowboys will still have a chance to make the playoffs, even if it's faint. Wow. They still got a chance to make the playoffs. That's crazy. And see here. Rush, he shouldn't run many zone reads. It led to his 4th lost fumble of the season, but he was able to rebound with an efficient performance, including 3 touchdown throws under duress, the most by a Dallas quarterback since Dak Prescott in 2021, which he did that in Week 17 versus Arizona. Rick Dodo, he finished with 149 yards or 25 carries, and this will be his 4th straight 100-yard outing when the Cowboys take on the Buccaneers. It will be tough against a Tampa Bay defense that is allowing 115.2 yards per game on the ground. The last Cowboys running back to have 4 straight 100-yard rushing game.
Camera went off.
4 straight 100-yard rushing games was
Ezekiel. Is there anything to go over with the Panthers? Is this what we're starting off with? Or picking back up off with?
Let's see. So Bryce Young, he's back to making some mistakes. He had a 4 turnover game, but he's learning. He's still learning. Like if Dave Canales, I think that's how you pronounce his name, if he's going to have to be patient with this quarterback. He's still young, man. I mean, you can't just bench him after a terrible performance. Like, it's rather you are on a stake with him or not. Give him years. If you're going to make him your starter, make him your starter. Give him years to develop. It's just that simple. He plays for the Panthers, bro. He's shown you signs that he can do it. Now, you can't just blame everything on him. It's up to you, too. Like, it's coaching also. He's a young quarterback. This is only his first year. You can't keep going back and forth to Andy Dalton, Bryce Young. You can't do it. If you're going to sit Bryce Young, sit him. Well, I don't even think Andy Dalton is a good quarterback for Bryce Young to sit under and to learn from. You know, I don't think so. So, I mean, just keep Bryce Young in, man. Just keep Bryce Young in, and you know, if I was a head coach, I will keep him in. I will be patient with him for about 4 or 5 years. I think that's enough. Unless he's just completely just terrible. Just terrible. You know, but then still, I would still keep playing him. What I would do is I would just draft another quarterback. I would draft another quarterback for them to battle it out. That's what I would do. But I won't keep going back and forth, starting him, benching him. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. You know, I think it's just very irresponsible for a head coach to do that to a young quarterback. You got to be patient with him, man. It's your fault you started him that fast. You shouldn't have started him that fast, and it's your fault you don't have a team for him to really do anything, like work with. You got rid of your great players, like you got rid of DJ Moore, and like come on. So Bryce Young had 2 picks, 2 fumbles. He was also sacked 6 times. That doesn't help. So no, this stupid article was talking about that the Carolina Panthers. One of my sources talking about the Panthers should look into Dalton again. Why? The season's almost over. Why? Why would you want to look into Dalton again? That's just dumb. Keep Bryce Young in there. If he's your freaking starter, he's your starter. Treat him like he's your franchise quarterback. He's only going to learn He's not going to learn by sitting under Andy Dalton. I'm telling you that right now. He needs to be better just be playing and making the mistakes and learning from mistakes and getting better and developing. I think Bryce Young is a quarterback that can develop and get better. Be good. I think he can. If you're going, I would only be for sitting him if there was actually a proven good veteran quarterback that was on the Panthers, not Andy Dalton. You know, if it was somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm just thinking of random names, like random, vets, like that I think that he can learn from. Ryan Fitzpatrick or even Aaron Rodgers or let me think of somebody else who I would be okay with him sitting under, to learn from, like a vet, Sam Darnold, quarterbacks like that. Like I think he can benefit sitting down and learning from, not freaking Andy Dalton, Geno Smith, quarterbacks like that. So no. CeeDee Lamb had a pretty solid game against them. He had 8 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. Most of these plays came from the Panthers playing zone, and they did not put J.C. Horn on CeeDee Lamb consistently like they should have. Dallas had the third worst run defense, 141.9 yards per game. In Carolina, Chuba Hubbard ranked 6th in rushing, 1,011 yards entering the game. Hubbard got 10 carries for 32 yards. Dallas shut that running game down. That was one of the reasons why I picked the Panthers to win, because I thought Chuba Hubbard was going to really have a field day on them, but he didn't. The Dallas Cowboys, their defense is tightening up. They're tightening up. And that's great. They're getting better. Like I always say before, I say teams get worse in the season. Later on in the season, teams get better. The Cowboys is getting better. And they're doing this without Dak Prescott. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's just good. So let's see. This opened up Dallas pass rush, resulting in Young being sacked 4 times in the third quarter after having none in the first half. So that real style run defense really opened up their pass rush. That's why Bryce Young he was making those mistakes. He had Michael Parsons in his face the whole game. Like, come on. So the Panthers, their next game is against the Cardinals on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We got the next game, Bills versus Lions. This was a really good game, really great game. Josh Allen did his thing. I predicted the Lions to win this game 30-29. The Lions won this game. No, wait. Why did I say the Lions won this game? They did not. The Bills won this game. That's a type error. The Bills won this game 48-42. So I was wrong about this game. The Bills defense, it is a bit of a concern, allowing 35 plus points and 450 plus yards in consecutive games. They are dealing with some injuries. 3 starting defensive backs are missed the game. So see here. But their offense is setting records. Josh Allen extended his own record with a 6 career game of multiple passing touchdowns and multiple rushing touchdowns. They're doing it without key players heavily. So Amari Cooper had 0 targets on Sunday. That's crazy. Joe Brady, he's rolling with Allen, and that will keep the Bills in any game. The Bills came in allowing 4.7 yards per rush, which was 26 against the Lions. That number was 3.2. At least their rush defense came through. Let's see here. Detroit, though, they did abandon the rush early to catch up to Buffalo through the air. So that probably could have been the case because Buffalo was scoring quick, fast, in a hurry. Let's see here. This win marked the Bills' 8th straight game with 30-plus points, which ties the longest streak in a single season in NFL history. Wow. That offense is dangerous. This was done by the 2000 Browns, 2007 Patriots, 2010 Patriots, and 2013 Denver Broncos. The game also marked a season high in yards, 559. The Bills' next game is against the New England Patriots on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's see what this. Let's go over the Lions. Is this loss a concern to the Lions? Sort of, maybe. I think their defense is a bigger concern than this loss. Their defense is their main reason why they lost this game. They're losing a lot of guys. They're losing a lot of guys, man, on their defense. So this is a potential Super Bowl preview. That's what a lot of people are saying. I don't think that either of these teams is going to go to the Super Bowl. But let's see here. No team has ever allowed 45 points or more in a home game and gone on to win a Super Bowl. So it's never happened. That never happened. So the Lions will be the first to do that. The Lions have won 11 straight games entering this matchup. So they shouldn't enter panic mode. Yes and no, because their defense is not good. Their defense is actually starting to get really bad. And Jared Goff isn't the type of quarterback to bring a team to the Super Bowl or let alone win playoff games with a terrible defense. I don't see Jared Goff having shootouts going through the playoffs. That's not going to happen. The Chiefs is not going to have a shootout with the Chiefs. We're talking about NFC here. That ain't going to happen against the Eagles or against the Lions. I don't even see it happening against the Rams. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to figure it out on defense or else they're not going.
So that's that. Jared Goff ain't that type of quarterback to do that. Let's see here. Is there anything else to go over? Let's see. Josh Allen, in the opening quarter, he made a statement with 2 rushing touchdowns, heading Detroit its biggest first quarter deficit, 14 points all season. He continued to pick the Lions apart with his legs and through the air. Buffalo scored a touchdown on his first 3 drives, taking command early and never looking back. See, that's a huge concern, man. That's a huge concern. Huge concern. The NFC offense are stacked. You talk about the Bills. The Bills offense is putting up points like crazy against all types of opponents. It's not going to get any easier when they have to in the playoffs or NFC. The NFC has the best offenses other than the Bills in the league. The Eagles, the Vikings, and the Rams. Ironically, all 3 of those teams has the best wide receiver tandem in the entire NFL, other than the Bengals, who's on AFC. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Justin Jefferson, my boy. Y'all already know I got a shout out every single time I talk about a USC player. Fight on. Jordan Addison, and my boy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. The Lions ain't gonna be able to stop. They ain't gonna be able to contain that. And the Eagles and the Vikings, they have phenomenal defenses. So I don't see Jared Goff just going out there and just snapping off. And then don't sleep on the Packers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions get booted out the first round of the playoffs. I would not be surprised if that happens. Depending on who they're playing, I don't know who they're playing. But I wouldn't be surprised, man. I would not be surprised. The Lions, they are a great team. They're good. You know, unfortunately, they had too many injuries this year, man. Their injuries hurt them. So, I mean, let's go over this. Detroit's defense is still taking some hits with, specifically, their defensive tackle, Alim McNeil, knee. Khalil Dorsey, cornerback, ankle. Carlton Davis III, jaw. All was being ruled out against the Bills. They're losing guys, man. They're losing dogs. Offensive tackle Dan Skipper, the Lions' big man, displayed his receiving skills by catching a 9-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Jared Goff with 3 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Skipper became the 3rd offensive lineman in franchise history to score a receiving touchdown, joining Taylor Decker and Scott Conover. That's pretty cool. But, you know, that does remind me of one thing of their offense. They have Ben Johnson. So, if their offense is to compete in shootouts, it's going to all be because of Ben Johnson. All of it. But at the same time, man, I mean, those defenses that they're going up against is nothing to play with the Eagles and the Vikings. It's nothing to play with. And even though Ben Johnson's a hell of an offensive coordinator, it's going to be a chess match. It is going to be a chess match when they play. It really is. The Lions' next game is against the Bears at 1 p.m. on Sunday. We got the Broncos and the Colts. I predicted the Broncos. I didn't put freaking my predictions on this one. I forgot. My fault. But I predicted the Broncos to win this game. I can't remember what was the score. The score I said. But the Broncos, they did win this game, 31-13. I believe I said the Broncos was going to blow out the Colts. I believe I did say that. I think I said it was going to be like a 1-point game. I think it was going to be like a 1-point game, like really close game, I thought. But they blew the Colts out. So let's see here. Let's see. Is there anything to go over with this game? Marvin Mims Jr., he had a 60-yard punt return, and linebacker Nick Bonito, he scored his first second touchdown of the season. A little bit more after that. the Broncos were in the sixth seed position in the AFC. On a day when the winds gusted between 20 and 30, the Broncos chose to air the ball out. The running backs had 8 carries for 15 yards in the first half and had 10 carries combined midway through the third quarter. This was a really great win for them. Bo Nix, he showed remarkable maturity throughout the season, but he is making the typical rookie mistakes of messing up early, which that happened again in this game. He threw an interception in the first quarter and 2 more in the second half. He ended up with 3 touchdown passes and a 20 of 33, 130-yard performance. Obviously, their next game was against the Chargers, and they lost that game last night. Let's see here. Is there anything to go over with the Colts? They are competing for the final AFC playoff spot. The Colts, I believe, are going to have to win out. The remaining slate pits them against favorable opponents: the Titans, Giants, and Jags. They are now 2 games behind the Chargers for the number 7 playoff spot, even after the Chargers lost Sunday and cannot catch the Texans in the AFC South. The Colts also no longer have the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Broncos. So they're not competing with us anymore. We won against the Broncos. So let's see here. The Colts, they had multiple chances to take control while Denver was struggling with turnovers, but their best opportunity was blown when running back Jonathan Taylor let go of the ball before he crossed the goal line on a 41-yard run early in the third quarter. Are you kidding me? Why do players do that? The Broncos scored the final 24 points of the game after that mistake. So let's see here. Shane Steichen, bad double pass play call. The Colts trailing 17-13 with 12 minutes left in Denver in territory. Dot up a cutsy trick play that backfired. So they're trying to get cute and they backfired on him. Anthony Richardson threw a backyard pass to wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, who attempted to throw another lateral back to the quarterback. Broncos linebacker Nick Bonito stepped in front of Richardson to snatch the ball before running 50 yards for a touchdown. I don't get it. Like, what the hell? So the Colts' next game is, like I said this before, is against the Titans on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And just go over the Bucks and the Chargers. I predicted the Chargers to win this game 19-18. So I knew the Chargers wasn't going to just dominate this game. Tampa Bay won 40-17. Wow. Let's see here. The Bucks is looking like a legitimate NFC contender. I forgot about the Buccaneers. They have a really great offense and a pretty good defense. Too many good teams in the NFC, man. Too many. Let's see. The Bucks scored 27 unanswered points against the Chargers, and their 40 points were the most allowed by Chargers' top-ranked defense all season. 4 straight victories for the Bucks. None of their future opponents have a winning record. So the Buccaneers, they have a pretty easy schedule. The Buccaneers, they control their own destiny. Well, sort of. They're going to have to win out to even have a chance. So let's see. Mike Evans, that's my boy. He recorded his 23rd career game with multiple receiving touchdowns, too. The 5th most by a player with a single team in NFL history. He's behind Chris Carter, who had 25, and Don Hudson, 28. Marvin Harrison, 29. Jerry Rice, 49. Damn, that's Jerry Rice. He owes that big time. It's pretty cool, man. So Mike Evans, he's definitely definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. 23rd career game with multiple receiver touchdowns. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Not a lot of receivers has done that. Let's see here. All-Pro Anton Whitfield, knee. Let's see. Jordan Whitehead and Mike Edwards. They were all out of this game with the Bucks defense. They orchestrated a second half shutout. And cornerback Jamil Dean, he recorded an interception, and he had a pretty strong day, surrendering just 2 catches on 6 targets. Levante David, he recorded 1.5 sacks, and so did Logan Hall. The Bucks' next game, I already talked about this, I already said it was against the Cowboys. It's going to be against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Let's see here. So Baker Mayfield, he had 288 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Mike Evans had 9 catches, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irvin, 15 attempts, 117 yards. They have whatever they had their way with the Chargers defense. Let's see here. This was very shocking for the Chargers. I went over some notes for the Chargers. Anything I need to go over with the Chargers on this game? Let's see. Justin Herbert at this game, he had a very uncharacteristically poor game. He came into Sunday nursing a left ankle sprain, and he held the football too long in some cases, which resulted in sacks and missed open wide receivers. His interception in the third quarter snapped his streak of 357 straight pass attempts without a pick, the fifth longest streak in NFL history. I was hoping he was going to break that record overall, but he has another opportunity to do it. Biggest hole in the game plan, finding two ways to sustain second half offense. The Chargers were shut out in the second half for the third time this season, tied for the most in the NFL. They must adjust the patterns in their second half play calling to help them down the stretch, especially if they want to avoid an early exit in the playoffs. So obviously, I said their next game was yesterday, so they won against the Broncos. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. I predicted the Steelers to win this game 27-25. The Eagles won this game, so I was right about the score points on the winner. The Eagles won this game 27-13. I was wrong about who won. Jalen Hurts was 25 of 32 for 290 yards and returned to attack mode after several weeks of leaning conservative. So Jalen Hurts had a pretty solid game. A.J. Brown, he had more receiving yards in the first quarter than he had all of last week against the Panthers. The Eagles, they picked up their 10th consecutive win, which is a new franchise record, and they remain in the hunt for the number one seed in NFC as the Lions lost to the Bills on Sunday. Let's see here. Hurts went 12 of 13 in the first half, which was good for a 92% completion percentage. And that is his highest in any half in his career. It's pretty good. It was just the kind of tension-relieving start the Eagles needed against their in-state rival. The Eagles' next game is against the Commanders. Steelers. So see what the Steelers to score over the Steelers. Can the Steelers bounce back after a deflating loss? They most certainly will. I think they can. I think they could probably beat the Ravens tomorrow. I got to think about that game. It's really going to be a really good game tomorrow. So the Steelers, they did clinch a playoff berth already, despite losing to Philly, thanks to losses by the Colts and the Dolphins. So they're going to need to have that momentum going against the Ravens and the Chiefs. Going against the Ravens. After 2 weeks of complimentary football, neither the offense nor defense had any answers. And so T.J. Watt, he did get injured. He had 2 sacks and a forced fumble in this game. He exited early because of an apparent left lower leg injury. So that's not good. What we learned about this about the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is that Russell Wilson that offense needs George Pickens. He's a big part of that offense. After scoring 27 points in their first game without Pickens, the Steelers offense scored just 13 points, managed 163 yards, and lost the time of possession by nearly 20 minutes. The 163 yards is their fewest in a game since week 2 of 2010. The Steelers, their pass defense is struggling. Philly came out throwing, including on 3 of its first 4 plays. And Pittsburgh didn't have a solution to covering Devontae Smith nor A.J. Brown. The receivers both combined for 19 catches of 219 yards and 2 TDs. So they got to get together. Pittsburgh Steelers, their next game is against the Ravens tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, we got the Patriots and the Cardinals. I predicted the Patriots to win this game 17-14. I was wrong on this game. So wrong on this game. Arizona blew out the Patriots 30-17. Would the Cardinals be able to win out? Who knows, man? Who knows? I don't know. I have to look at their schedule. Let's see. Cardinals' biggest obstacle to finishing the season undefeated will be the Rams, who are on a hot streak. Arizona showed Sunday that it can still put up points after dropping 30 on the Patriots. If the Cardinals play like that against the Panthers next week, they should win. But a victory in Week 17 against Los Angeles will depend on which Cardinals team shows up. Yeah, the Cardinals have been very inconsistent all year. I don't see the Cardinals beating the Rams on Week 17. It's going to be a big game on that. It's going to be a really big game, though. Really big game. Let's see here. Greg Dortch, he's a wide receiver for the Cardinals. He had his best game of the season, turning 3 receptions into a season high of 60 yards. He had a 39 catch and run that showcased his speed and maneuverability against the poor Patriots defense. So, the Cardinals, their next game is against the Panthers. They should win that game. It's on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's go over with some Patriots. See what the Patriots. See if I need to say anything about the Patriots. The Patriots, they entered Week 15 with the second toughest remaining schedule in the NFL, so they may not win out. They may not win another game. Patriots, they're 3-11 right now. They visit the Bills before home against the Chargers. So they got the Bills and then they got the Chargers. So they're going to the Bills and then they got us at home. They're going to lose both of those games. I don't see them winning either one of those games. The Patriots have a 16.8% chance to win at Buffalo, a 32.2% chance against the Chargers, and then a 21% chance in the finale. Visiting Cardinals was the Patriots' best chance, and they were coming off their bye, but it was an unsurprising performance, especially on defense. Let's see here. The Patriots, they couldn't get their ground game going at all. Drake May, he became just the second quarterback in the NFL to go 10 for 10 or better in a first half this season. Drake May is still playing well. He's playing all right. The Lions, Jared Goff has done it 3 times, but May but May did so on mostly short passes. His 3-yard shovel pass to Mario Douglas was the most dazzling, and May was a silver lining on a frustrating day. The Patriots' next games, like I said, against the Bills on 1 p.m. Eastern. The Dolphins and the Texans. Oh my God! I predicted the Texans to win this game. I forgot to put the score. The Texans, they won this game 20-12. Their rushing attack has been very inconsistent. The Texans since Week 9. Joe Mixon. He only had 23 yards, so he didn't play really well this game. Let's see. The Texans, they can clinch a playoff spot if the Colts lose. And they're going to need some consistency from Joe Mixon to make a run in the postseason. They're definitely going to need him as well because he was a big part of the offense really having any kind of heartbeat this year. But their offensive line is going to have to step it up. Let's see here. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to go over in this game? So this is Derek Stingley. He had 2 picks. So he picked off Tua twice. And the offense had a season low of 190 yards, and most of Houston's points came off turnovers. Without those takeaways, the Texans might have lost this game. The Texans' next game is against the Chiefs tomorrow. So let's see here. How does this loss for the Dolphins impact their playoff chances? So it doesn't help. So the Dolphins at their best can finish with a 9-8 record, but they still need to clear both the Broncos and the Colts. They still got to beat both of those teams. So independent of any real other result, their playoff chances fell to 4% with Sunday's loss to Houston. They will be mathematically eliminated if they have another loss. So, let's see here. The Texans defense blitzed on just 20% of Miami's pass plays, relying on the secondary to remain sticky in coverage. As a result, both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they both left the game with a knee injury, averaged less than 2 yards of separation per route run. Tua threw multiple interceptions for the first time since week 2. I mean, that's what he does. Tua does throw a lot of picks. The Dolphins generated negative 48 rushing yards over expectation against Houston. They had a very poor running game, which was a massive surprise. Devon Achane, he averaged just 3.4 yards per carry. And Miami, they haven't had 100 yards rushing since week 9. And its 52 rushing yards Sunday pushed that drought to 6 games. The Dolphins' next game is against the 49ers on Sunday. All right, Sunday Night Football, Packers Seahawks. I predicted the Seahawks to win this game 29 to 28. The Packers won this game 30 to 12. So, after winning in Seattle, the Packers have one road game remaining at Minnesota in Week 17. The Vikings already won at Lambeau Field in Week 4, and as of Sunday night, they had a 2-game lead on the Packers in the loss column. So let's see. The other 2 games are against the Saints, who are 5-9, Bears, who are 5-9, and if Green Bay wins out, it will carry a 4-game winning streak into the playoffs. So, Josh Jacobs scored touchdowns on their first 2 possessions on the way to a 14-0 lead, and the Packers ran 18 plays on those 2 drives combined, and Jacobs got the ball on 11 of them, including 9 times in the 10-play opening drive. The Packers came out firing. They came out hot, which is awesome against a Seahawks team that was coming off a good win. Let's see here. Cornerback Carrington Valentine, he did not have an interception in his first 28 NFL games. Before Sunday, he nearly made it 29 when he dropped a potential pick on a 2nd and goal play in the second quarter, but he made it up for it quickly. On the very next play, Valentine picked out Geno Smith in the end zone. Valentine was in the lineup in place of the injured Jaire Alexander, who was out with a knee. And the Packers' next game is against the Saints on Monday Night Football. The Seahawks. See if there's anything to go over with the Seahawks. The question is, are the Seahawks even a playoff team even with a healthy Geno Smith? Their playoff loss did suffer a significant blow with the loss. No, not the playoff loss. Their playoff hopes suffered a significant blow with their loss. That dropped them into a tie for first place in NFC West with the Rams. Looking pretty good with that one. I'm saying the Rams is going to win the NFC when they win the division. The Rams have a head-to-head win over Seattle in the easier remaining schedule. A wild card berth would be no bargain, as Washington, currently sitting in the 3rd and final spot, is a game ahead and has 2 more conference wins for tie-breaking purposes. But getting into the playoffs would be an even taller order if Smith's right knee injury forces Sam Howell into extended action. So, Smith is going to have to get healthy, but even when he is healthy, we don't know. We don't really know if the Seahawks are a playoff team, really. I don't think they are. I kind of overrated them earlier this year, and I quickly saw that they're just not it. They're not it. Geno Smith went down in the 3rd quarter and didn't return, and Howell struggled. Sam Howell, obviously. So let's see here. The Seahawks, their offensive line has been struggling all year. They would allow 7 quarterback sacks and 12 QB hits. So let's see. Their center is still. They lost their starting center to a knee injury in the first half. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I'm going to have to figure out how to say it. But it's I guess Olu Wadimi. Or Wadami. Or Wadamai. Olu Wadamai, I guess. To a knee injury in the first half. But it was coming off its best performance of the season. So they had 0 sacks and 2 hits. And they was facing a Packers, so their offensive line played all right. So let's see. They were facing a Packers defense that ranks near the bottom of the NFL in pressure rate and pass rush rate. They were coming off that, so they had a pretty good performance last week in Week 14. That was their best performance of the season with 0 sacks and 2 hits. But they allowed 7 sacks and 12 QB hits against a Packers defense that ranks near the bottom of the NFL in pressure rate and pass rush rate, win rate. So that's not good at all. But that center, I guess they lost out. That really hurt them. But they lost, yeah. So let's see here. Geno Smith, he still has a terrible habit of forcing throws in the red zone. I mean, they say that he has been very good when he takes care of the ball, which he did the previous 2 games, but not against Green Bay before his injury. The interception he threw off his back foot under heavy pressure marked his 4th pick in the red zone this season, most in the NFL, and 4th on a throw into the red end zone, tied for most in the NFL. Geno Smith has turned the ball over too many times. He is 15 of 19, 149 yards with no touchdowns. That's what he finished the game with. Now has 13 interceptions this season compared with 14 touchdown passes. That He's having a bad year. He's playing bad. The Seahawks' next game is against the Vikings. Monday Night Football. 2 more games. I predicted the Vikings and the Bears. I predicted the Vikings to win this game 28-23. They won this game 30-12. This is a huge win for the Vikings. It pulled the Vikings to a statistical tie with both the Detroit Lions, who are 12-2, and the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also 12-2. It means the Vikings will secure the NFC North crown if they win their final 3 games, and it keeps them very much in the running for the number 1 overall seed in the conference. If Minnesota wins out to finish 15-2, and the Eagles do as well, the tiebreaker will come down to the strength of victory between the two, which can't be tabulated until all games have been played. So Sam Darnold had one of his least accurate games of the season, finishing with 16 incompletions, which is his second most in 2024. So he played he didn't play all that well, but he still got the job done. Justin Jefferson was more open on his first quarter touchdown than he had been on any other previous 20 touchdowns he has scored on throws into the end zone. Jefferson had 4 yards of separation from the nearest Bears defender on the 7-yard catch. Let's see here. Let's talk about what we got. Do we have anything to go over with the Bears? Chicago didn't convert a third down until 14 minutes and 35 seconds remained in the fourth quarter. That's crazy. When Caleb Williams completed a 20-yard pass to Keenan Allen. The Bears were 1 of 12 on third down for the second time this season. DeAndre Swift was ineffective early, and he got stuffed twice on 4th and 1 in the first half. And the Bears, let's see here. The Bears entered Week 15 with 4 pass interference penalties on the season, which was tied for the 3rd fewest in the league. They were flagged for it twice in Minnesota, with both penalties eventually leading to touchdowns. Williams averaged depth of target on 9 pass attempts in the first half was 0.1 yards, but he averaged 10 yards on the second half. He didn't attempt a pass with at least 10 air yards in the first half and attempted 10 touch throws in the second half. It was a poor performance by the Bears all around, man. Their next game is, like I already said, it's against the Lions. Falcons and Raiders. I did not get my predictions for this game. I honestly did not know the Falcons and Raiders was playing on Monday. I didn't know it was a doubleheader. I'm just going to be completely honest. But it's whatever. I would have predicted. I'm going to be honest with you. I would have predicted I would have had a bold prediction. I would have predicted the Raiders to have won this game. They didn't. They lost this game 15-9. So, if the Falcons is playing any other team, if any other team that was at least good, they would not have won this game. It shows and it tells you that because Kirk Cousins he's not starting anymore. He's benched, and I told y'all I predicted him to be benched by week 5, as I thought that he was going to be bad faster than what he showed. So it took to week 15 or week 16 for him to get benched. I never thought Kirk Cousins was a good quarterback ever. He snapped his 4-game streak without a touchdown pass. Okay. He passed a 30-yarder to wide receiver Drake London, but he had another interception, giving him 9 picks over the past 5 games. So he scored a touchdown, but he still threw another pick. Cousins went 11 of 17 passing, with the Falcons running the ball more than 30 times. So they were trying to take the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands. They did not want the ball in his hands. I mean, to be honest with you, B.J. Robinson, he's a good runner anyway. So, I mean, I think they, anytime you have a great running back, I don't think it's a great running back, but anytime you have a really good running back like that, I feel like unless you got Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert or somebody, Josh Allen, the offense should go through the running back, like Saquon Barkley with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts isn't like a game-changing run quarterback, but they have a game-changing running back. That offense should be run through Saquon Barkley, which the Eagles' offense is. So, let's see here. Cousins didn't throw on first down once in the first half. The only occurrence of that happening in his career. The Falcons were clearly trying to feature the running game due to Cousins' struggles. Yeah, of course, that's what I just said. Cousins threw on. It worked. Cousins threw on first down to start the second half, and it was an interception. This is no surprise to me that Cousins is playing this bad. Yep. So, let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about? D'Angelo Malone, he had 2 sacks, the first multiple sack game of his 3-year career. He's the best player on the Falcons special teams, and he's had earned some more playing time on their defense as an edge, with the team needing fresh pass rushers. So that's something to look out for the Falcons. If they can get their pass rush going by D'Angelo Malone. The Packers' next game is against the Giants. Let's see if there's anything I want to go over with the Raiders. They have a lot of injuries. Their injuries decimated them all year. They have 3 games left to play. And Las Vegas is in line for a top 2 draft pick. The Raiders have dropped 10 straight, their longest in season losing streak since they opened the 2014 season, which was 0-10, which they went 0-10 in 2014. Let's see here. They keep playing with effort. They are giving effort. That's what I like from the Raiders. That's what I like. They are still fighting. And that's what I said. I said this before, that even though the teams probably suck or their record is bad, it's still good. If I was the head coach, I would still be having my team fight throughout the season. I mean, throughout finishing the season out, because you can carry that momentum into the offseason and until next season. You can have those guys, your players, remember how they finished and have them pick that up. So it's very important for that. This is very, very momentum is very important in football. Most surprising performance by the Raiders. So they've had 3 seasons. What I'm talking about. They're fighting. The Raiders recorded 3 sacks by a defensive front that has been that's missing their Pro Bowler, one of the best pass rushers in the league, Max Crosby. So that's something to build upon. And the Chargers is going to have to look out for that. This is not going to be a cakewalk for the Chargers when we play them in the final week of the season. The Raiders, I am talking about, if I was the coach, if I was Antonio Pierce, I will be like, yo, we are going, these next 2 games these next 2 games is our playoffs. Is a playoff win. I want a playoff win. I want an AFC championship, and I want a Super Bowl. Against the Chargers is our Super Bowl. These next 2 games is playoffs. That's how I would, it's all about, communication and perspective and how you view things as a player and how you have your team, your players perceive things. You got to be able to figure out how you can get your players to perform and to go out there and execute the game plan and to perform on the field. So that's what I would be doing if I was Antonio Pierce. So it's awesome. Undrafted rookie defensive tackle Jonah, I don't want to mess these guys' name up. Jonah L. registered his first career sack, while fellow defensive tackle Adam Butler, Adam Butler he had 3.5 sacks for the campaign, and defensive end Tyree Wilson. So Adam Butler had 1. Tyree Wilson, last year first round pick, and he got his 4th of 2024. So altogether, they had 3 sacks. So that's phenomenal. The Raiders' next game is against the Jaguars. The Raiders can win that game. The Raiders can definitely win that game. I'm ready for the Raiders to win that game. I like Antonio Pierce. I think Antonio Pierce. I'm done for this. I'm done for my predictions. I'm done for all my games. I'll just give little closing notes, and I'll leave it on talk about Antonio Pierce, because since that's the last game, that was the last game of Week 15, and that the doubleheader Monday Night Football. I think Antonio Pierce. I think he deserves another shot. I think Antonio Pierce deserves 1 more year. If the Raiders, if they can somehow get a quarterback, if somehow, which I don't see it happening, but if somehow the Giants don't pick Shedeur, if the Giants is going to be the number 1 team picking, I would love to see Shedeur in the Raiders. It makes all the sense in the world. His mentor, his quarterback coach, the guy he trained with, Tom Brady, is there. He's a minority owner, and he got Brock Bowers, and I would love to see Shedeur in the Raiders uniform. I would love to see it. I would love that. His swag, his personality his attitude, it fits Raider. I would love to see that. I would love to see. I hope Shador goes to the Raiders. Hopefully the Raiders can figure it out. Hopefully, but like I said, Antonio Pierce. If I was Antonio Pierce, I would still have them try to win out. But no, hold on, well, if I was in his shoes, I don't want the Raiders to win out, because if they win out, that means they beat the Chargers. But you get what I'm saying. But I would like to see it, man. I would like to see Shador in a Raider uniform. I would like to see the Raiders draft him. We'll see what happens. I did see some reports. There were some people trying to lie and say that, or trying to come up with some conspiracies that Shador, if the Giants draft Shador, he's not going to go to the Giants. But Deion came. I think I saw that Deion came out. Don't quote me on this. He came out and said that's just simply not true. So who knows? I don't want to see Shador in the Giants. I don't want to see Shador go to a terrible organization. I don't. The Giants is a bad organization. I would like to see him go to the Raiders. I think the Raiders will treat him right. You got Tom Brady there. Tom Brady's got to make sure he's good. I would love to see that, man. And Shador and Brock Bowers, boy, come on. That'd be awesome. That's all I got, man. This was a very long video. I think this video was like 2 hours. So that's all I have, man. Thank y'all. If you guys watched it this long, watched the entire video, I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for your support. This is football all day. And we're going to be back very soon. I'm going to be back less than 24 hours. I got to get my predictions for, Saturday, Sunday's games, Monday games. I got to get my predictions for Week 16. So we out here working all day, every day. Thank you so much.